Welcome to the debate. The very nature of modern conflict is undergoing, well, a radical transformation, fueled by rapid technological innovation. Today, we're diving deep into two critical elements shaping the contemporary battlefield, particularly as illuminated by the ongoing conflict in Ukraine. The pervasive influence of unmanned aerial vehicles, or drones, and the enduring power of traditional artillery systems. It's a fascinating, complex interplay, and the central question we're grappling with is this. In the constantly evolving landscape of modern warfare, which technological domain, the widespread application of drones or the enduring power of artillery, truly represents the more fundamentally transformative and decisive factor in shaping battlefield outcomes and future military strategy? I'll be arguing that drones are the singular most transformative force redefining combat as we know it.
And I will champion the enduring, indeed indispensable role of artillery. While drones certainly add a new dimension, I believe artillery, even as it integrates with these new technologies, remains the ultimate arbiter of battlefield success. It's a debate that forces us to look beyond the immediate headlines and consider, the strategic bedrock of warfare.
To my mind, the dramatic rise of drones on the battlefield is undeniably the most transformative development we've witnessed. The Ukrainian conflict has become, without exaggeration, the most drone-saturated war in history. Estimates suggest that up to, two-thirds of all strikes on enemy positions are now carried out by various types of drones. These machines are incredibly cheap to produce, astonishingly lethal, and both sides are churning them out by the millions annually. This relentless surge hasn't just added a new tool, it's fundamentally eroded the traditional advantage of massed artillery and armored vehicles, forcing a significant slowdown in large mechanized advances. What drones have effectively created are what we now call kill zones, areas approximately 10 to 15 kilometers deep on both sides of the front where any moving object, any significant troop concentration is, immediately detected and targeted. This isn't merely a tactical shift, it represents a new philosophy of warfare, prioritizing constant, omnipresent surveillance and rapid, precise engagement through flexible, operator-safe systems that can conduct reconnaissance, strike, and adjust fire without ever risking human lives at the point of impact. It's a paradigm shift in how armies move, fight, and even think.
I understand the allure of that argument, and the numbers you cite regarding drone proliferation are indeed striking. However, while acknowledging the significant impact of drones, I maintain that artillery remains the fundamentally decisive and indispensable element on the modern battlefield. Artillery is not just a tool, it is a critical shield in positional warfare, absolutely essential for stopping mass enemy assaults and destroying fortified positions where drones simply cannot provide the necessary destructive impact. Consider the sheer raw power of a single 155mm shell, a staple of heavy artillery. It carries tens of kilograms of high explosives, capable of pulverizing fortifications or instantly disabling armored vehicles with its concussive force and devastating shrapnel. To replicate that effect, experts estimate you would need dozens of smaller individual kamikaze drones.
Well, potentially, yes.
Right. Moreover, modern artillery systems boast immense range, striking targets 30 to 40 kilometers or more away, which is well beyond the practical reach of most tactical drones. And crucially, artillery is far more independent of weather conditions, rain, snow, heavy fog, which can ground drone operations entirely. It's also largely immune to electronic warfare, as shells follow ballistic trajectories, predictable arcs, largely unaffected by electronic interference, unlike, many GPS-dependent drones. This enduring, scalable firepower capable of sustained barrages remains the core pillar of battlefield influence, a point underscored by Ukraine's increased domestic production of Bogdana self-propelled artillery units and Europe's massive ramp-up in ammunition manufacturing. It's about fundamental physics and sustained impact, really.
You effectively highlight artillery's destructive capacity, and no one denies its power. But what I'm focused on is the transformation of the battlefield. And to me, nothing is more profound than these continuous kill zones, 10 to 15 kilometers deep, enforced by this pervasive drone presence. This isn't just about detection. It fundamentally changes how armies can move and operate. Heavy equipment is now forced to keep far to the rear, and even infantry is restricted to small, masked groups. Attempting to gather a company of infantry or move a supply convoy openly becomes, well, an immediate death sentence. Drones are, in essence, making the entire front line transparent for commanders. This completely alters tactical maneuver and operational planning. For large formations, the variability to move without being immediately seen and targeted has, for all intents and purposes, vanished. Doesn't this pervasive transparency inherently limit the traditional maneuver capabilities that artillery is designed to support?
That's a compelling image, this transparent battlefield. And I agree that drones provide unparalleled surveillance. But while they excel at creating those surveillance-heavy kill zones, artillery still provides the decisive fire to hold these zones against massed assaults and, critically, to break through enemy fortifications. The Washington Post, alongside assessments from the Ukrainian Armed Forces, repeatedly confirmed that artillery remains critically important for defense in the positional warfare that defines this conflict. It's the primary means of stopping large-scale attacks, think of an advancing infantry company or a tank column, and destroying well-fortified positions where the capabilities of smaller drones are simply too limited. Drones have filled vital niches in reconnaissance and precision strikes against individual high-value targets, yes, absolutely. But they cannot achieve the sheer volume of fire or the concussive effect needed to halt an advancing company or breach a dug-in trench line. So if the battlefield is transparent, how do we explain the continued difficulty in achieving large-scale breakthroughs, which artillery still seems uniquely equipped to do when it fires?
That's a fair challenge regarding breakthroughs, but I think it actually reinforces my point about the transformative nature of drones. The reason those breakthroughs are so difficult, even with artillery, is precisely because of the drone-enforced transparency. Artillery cannot operate effectively if its positions are immediately identified and targeted by drones. And from an efficiency standpoint, I'm not convinced by your argument for artillery's overwhelming destructive capacity when we consider the low cost and mass production of drones. This is a game changer in a war of attrition. We are seeing a fundamental shift where losing dozens of inexpensive drones is economically preferable to losing a single cannon or a high-value tank.
Their ability to employ swarm tactics. Imagine not just one, but dozens of kamikaze drones appearing simultaneously from multiple vectors, overwhelming traditional air defenses that are designed to track individual targets. This overloads enemy air defenses and electronic warfare systems. This makes the sheer numbers and affordability the primary factor for achieving impact, allowing for saturation attacks that more expensive, less numerous systems simply can't match. This isn't just about volume, it's about persistent, cost-effective volume.
Okay. I understand your emphasis on cost, but that's only part of the equation when we look at true battlefield impact. The argument for drone cost-effectiveness, I'm sorry, but I just don't buy that it's as straightforward as it seems. While individual drones are indeed cheap, achieving the destructive effect of a single 155mm artillery shell with its tens of kilograms of explosives often requires dozens of drones, each carrying a relatively small warhead. This can potentially make the cumulative cost for significant, area-wide impact comparable to or even higher than a single artillery round. Artillery offers an unmatched explosive charge and area effect per munition, which is absolutely crucial for targeting broad areas, suppressing entrenched positions, or stopping massed advances. For these tasks, drones are inherently less efficient due to their small warheads and limited payload capacity.
A concentrated volley of artillery can clear an area, provide cover, or break an assault in a way that dozens of individual drone strikes might struggle to achieve with the same speed, concussive force, and psychological impact. Can a drone swarm truly replicate the sustained suppressive fire needed to pin down an entire enemy position for minutes on end?
You bring up the valid point about sustained suppression, but I'd counter that the resilience and flexibility of drones, particularly in terms of operator safety, offer a different kind of endurance and, frankly, an overwhelming advantage. While drones certainly have vulnerabilities, from electronic warfare and air defenses to adverse weather and the limited endurance of tactical UAVs, Their sheer mass and diversity provide resilience through redundancy. We're talking about a whole spectrum here. FPV drones or first-person view kamikaze drones, loitering munitions, which can wait for a target, and multi-copters for surveillance, all being deployed in a coordinated, sometimes simultaneous fashion. The safety of operators who can conduct these strikes remotely without direct risk to life is an unparalleled strategic advantage compared to placing artillery crews directly in harm's way, exposed to counter-battery fire.
The ability to deploy thousands of inexpensive, disposable systems means that individual losses, while undesirable, are far less impactful to overall force readiness than losing high-value, complex artillery pieces or, crucially, the highly trained crews operating them. This fundamentally changes the risk calculus for commanders.
You've highlighted drone resilience through redundancy, and indeed the safety of operators is a significant factor. However, I'd argue that the critical limitations drones face actually underscore artillery's enduring reliability in sustained combat. Strong electronic warfare environments, for instance, create dead zones where drones are simply ineffective or easily downed. And modern layered air defense systems are becoming increasingly adept at shooting down larger, more expensive UAVs. Crucially, adverse weather, strong winds, heavy precipitation, or even dense fog can significantly degrade or outright prevent tactical drone operations, whereas artillery operates largely unhindered by such conditions. And when we talk about endurance, high-intensity artillery use reveals its own vulnerabilities, yes, but also its fundamental operational capacity. Modern guns like the German PH-2000, designed for perhaps 100 shots per day, wore out barrels rapidly in Ukraine, sometimes in a matter of weeks, leading to accuracy loss and safety concerns. This highlights a critical issue of wear and tear and repair needs, with sources noting that more guns fail due to lack of spare parts than enemy fire. This demonstrates an immense logistical and maintenance burden, and thus a profound operational reliability challenge for artillery in sustained, high-tempo combat. So, while drones have weather and EW limitations, artillery has its own battle with logistics and wear and tear, but it still maintains its core ability to deliver devastating effects when needed. Can drones truly match that sustained, all-weather, heavy firepower when the conditions are challenging?
You make a very strong point about the logistical challenges and wear and tear on artillery, which is undeniable in high-intensity conflict. However, let's consider how these systems integrate, because I believe this is where the drone's truly transformative role becomes undeniable. The very concept of smart artillery itself demonstrates how drones are the transformative enabler. Drones now serve as the indispensable eyes of artillery, conducting real-time reconnaissance, identifying targets often deep behind enemy lines, and transmitting coordinates digitally with incredible speed. Drone-based correction significantly increases artillery accuracy, often reducing the number of sighting shots required from dozens to just one or two. This deep integration, where artillery becomes part of a complex ecosystem with UAVs, confirms the drone's foundational role in modern fire support. Without the drone providing that constant, precise, real-time feedback, much of contemporary artillery's precision and effectiveness in a dynamic battlefield environment would simply, well, vanish. It's not just an enhancement, it's a redefinition of what artillery can achieve.
I agree that drones are invaluable as eyes and that the integration is critical. But I would frame it differently. Artillery provides the scale of effect and the suppressive fire that often allows drones to operate more safely and effectively. Artillery fire suppresses enemy air defenses, creating safe corridors for deeper drone strikes. Artillery also handles the routine tasks like area bombardment and containing advances, freeing up scarce, specialized drones for high-value precision targets. It ensures massive fire impact at operational depth and retains its independence from external influences like weather and electronic warfare, making it the essential backbone. The synergy we observe is powerful precisely because artillery provides the heavy, sustained, and resilient fire support that drones, with their smaller payloads and weather sensitivities, simply cannot replicate on a grand scale. So while drones have revolutionized observation and precision, it's artillery that still provides the necessary foundation, the sheer kinetic and destructive power. for any comprehensive fire ecosystem to be truly effective in holding or taking ground.
As we conclude this discussion, it's clear that the interplay between drones and artillery is profoundly reshaping modern warfare, pushing both systems to adapt and evolve. From my perspective, drones represent the singular, most transformative element on today's battlefield. Their mass proliferation, cost-effectiveness, unparalleled precision, and the ability to create pervasive kill zones have fundamentally altered tactical operations and strategic planning. Even as artillery adapts, it does so within an ecosystem increasingly defined and enabled by drone capabilities, marking the drone as the primary driver of this new era of warfare.
And I come at it from a different way. Artillery, despite the undeniable rise of drones, remains an absolutely indispensable and decisive factor. Its unmatched destructive power, range, and resilience to adverse conditions mean it continues to be the ultimate instrument for achieving mass effects, stopping large-scale assaults, and destroying hardened targets. While drone integration significantly enhances artillery's precision and responsiveness, the core strategic value and fundamental battlefield role of artillery endures, providing the necessary foundation for any comprehensive fire ecosystem.
It's a fascinating, complex reality.
Indeed, both systems are undoubtedly interdependent, forming what we could call a unified fire ecosystem, where coordinated action yields synergistic effects unattainable by either alone. The insights from the conflict in Ukraine and the broader source material reveal a complex and dynamic evolution rather than a simple replacement. We invite you, our listeners, to consider these nuanced perspectives as you reflect on the future of military technology and how these powerful tools will continue to shape global conflict.